Now I do.
Hey, we're here in Sturgis, South Dakota, home of the Sturgis Biker Rally. This year it had about a million people come in a 10-day period. And one time I came up here and I guess there was some gang graffiti under a bridge. And so the community got together and they ended up calling in the gang experts. And so the old police guy from the 80s came up from Rapid City, and he's a gang trainer. And so they had all the community social workers and different organizations come together, and we met at the school. And what happened was they were talking about how they could stop the gang problems from growing into a hybrid gang culture. Because when we talk about gangs, if you're not from Los Angeles or Chicago, as far as youth gangs, then you're not really a gang, but you're a hybrid gang culture. And but I thought it was ironic, and I went up to the officer and I said, look, don't you think it's kind of ironic that you have 10 days of some of the most organized gangs in the country, the Hells Angels, Banditos, and different gangs come to Sturgis, and they're worried about a little bit of graffiti. And he's like, well, yeah, kind of. And so it's really kind of interesting that we ended up talking about gangs. And but we're in the Northern Hills in Sturgis, South Dakota, home of this was part of the Great Sioux Nation at one point, where now there's billions and probably even trillions worth of land that has been taken. And even for like a 10-day period, what I was sharing with Belvin was that you have every one of those people spend at least $100 here in that 10-day period. That would be $100 million that they earned in 10 days of the Sturgis Rally. So basically, that's a lot of money for a small community like this. So they're using the hills as a drawing point, and this is probably the world famous Sturgis. We're going to show you a little bit of what it looks like outside of the rally on October 1st. Today it's Friday evening, and we're looking for a skull cap here so I can put it on when I'm cooking. So you have any questions, Belle?
No.
No questions for Belle. All right. So in the background we have the hills, the Pahasapa, home of the Great Sioux Nation at one point, one of the richest areas in the country, in the world, with all the resources, the gold. I talked about that in the blog in 1874.
Oh.
That's when Custer brought up 1,000 men to make sure, or to check to see if they had gold in the Custer area. They didn't find that gold. So what they did is they kept looking, and they came to Lead, and that's where one of the richest gold mines in the history of the world came from. Homestake mining. And so what I tell people is, even if the United States of America wanted to pay us back, pay the Great Sioux Nation, they could never afford it because it would be too much money and too much resources have already been taken out. And unfortunately now, in the Northern Hills, they're starting to mine uranium. And that's a really scary point, even for the ranchers, because uranium is a very dangerous, it's dangerous to mine, for power plants and for nuclear weapons and things like that. And then where are you going to bury the nuclear waste? And a lot of people think that the government wants to use reservations to do that. But I know that a lot of people will stand up and fight against that. So this is Res Ramblings. Have a good evening.
How do you stop it?
You can just stop.